Risk, communication, and negotiation. The nature of communication includes oral, written, nonverbal communication through gesture or gesture, namely body language, or through symbol and picture. There is also direct communication and media communication. The order of communication related to the number of communication, known as personal or interpersonal communication, group communication or between groups, small groups or large groups. There are print mass communication and electronic mass media. There is also media communication, such as by mail, internet, and email. The purpose of communication is to change attitude and behavior, directing opinions either individuals or the wider community. Communication can fail because of poor preparation or planning the communication. Communication can also fail because something is interfering. Communication can also fail if the main source is carried away by emotion, cannot hold back from the attack of the audience. Therefore, it is necessary to study several things that frustrate the communication. In a communication event, people can be prepared whose job is to reduce or neutralize the situation, as a wise person to return the subject matter that is being. 1. Physical disorder. Problems that are often found are physical barrier. The room where you can communicate can be too narrow, stuffy, and the atmosphere is uncomfortable. Many audience members in the room whose view is blocked by something like poles, high chair back, and so on. This atmosphere can make the participant or audience unfocused. 2. Misinterpretation. Communicators have long conveyed message in various ways and variation in order to get serious attention from the audience, but in fact the opposite happened. This misinterpretation is caused by several things, including 3. Language problem. It can happen that the messenger used too many foreign language, such as English, Arabic, or other language, which appear when the communicator want to be bold, brave, or indeed has difficulty finding the right equivalent in conveying it to the audience. Maybe use a lot of words such as negotiation, trade-off, adjustment, which might make people misunderstand. 4. Background difference. Communicators should consider the background of the audience, for example, about education, culture, and emotional background. It could happen that many of the audience have long education compared to those with higher education. Here, there may be obstacles in the way of understanding, let alone conveyed in high scientific language. It can also happen that the communicator comes from an area whose language sounds hard and rude, causing fear or no sympathy anymore. Emotionally, there may be very sensitive. There are health problems. In a meeting, there may be disturbance because there are participants who often cough often speak, often go in and out of the restroom. Some feel disturbed because of the loud fan or too cold the air conditioner. This situation is also not really interfere and become an obstacle in the communication process. People who are sick, their heads are dizzy, it is very difficult to follow the course of the communication process because their mind can be defeated everywhere. 6. There is another object. In the middle of the program talking about a topic, suddenly there are other objects that can disturb the attention. For example, someone who brings a newspaper or magazine whose content are very interesting, or the news is in a frenzy. Another problem in retrieving mistake in a communication process is the competition between hearing and seeing. What others hear, what others see, make people fail to. 7. Delivery method. Message conveyed in communication have the opposite meaning. For example, talking about the importance of transportation, but at the same time talking about the amount of transportation costs themselves. A messenger in a hurry conveys a lot of idea, but conveys it all at once without sorting it out, like spilling a bucket of water into a small bottle hole. A chain message through several people who no less perfectly grasp the meaning of the message. Often the recipient of the last message receives it very differently from the original message intent. Recognizing conflict in negotiation. So that there is a risk, the ability to recognize conflict is one of the first steps to dealing with conflict. The following is described about the things that mark a conflict in negotiation. 1. Lack of willingness to listen is accompanied by with a greater desire to impose ideas on opponents. 2. The atmosphere grew tense. 3. Defensive attitude and lack of openness. 4. The attitude of maintaining the initial position and refusing to move. The attitude of withdrawing from discussion or refusing in debate. 6. There are those who are sulking. 7. Personal attack either directly or indirectly. 8. Using trends abusive behavior and putting each other down. 9. Ignoring the opponent, for example, not wanting to receive call or email from the opposing party. 10. Addressing the opponent in derogatory and condescending terms. When the conflict reaches an extreme level, it may result in an unsolved conflict, so that negotiation must be deadlocked. To prevent such deadlocks, a third party must be present as a mediator. In mediating the deadlock, mediator must pay attention to the following things. 1. The mediator must acknowledge the existence of conflict and point out ways to resolve the problem that arises for the parties to the conflict is considered a serious problem. Therefore, the mediator should not take the conflict lightly. 2. The mediator must be neutral. The mediator may not show his agreement to either party, either by facial expression, body movement, or repeating statement from one of the conflicting party. By being neutral, it is hoped that both parties will feel comfortable to submit their demands. 3. The mediator should focus the discussion on the problem, not on the conflicting person. 4. The mediator must put the conflicting party in perspective by identifying the area to be agreed and focus on the problem one by one. 5. The mediator acts as a facilitator and not as a judge who will decide who wins and loses. 6. The mediator must again confident that the conflicting parties support the solution that they have agreed upon. Okay guys, thank you for attention and sorry kalau ada kata-kata yang salah karena saya juga masih belajar.